Wranglers Extra.
I'm Aaron Canada alongside John Schiffner on the Manager Show on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. And Schiff, a washout last night, so it wasn't technically an off day, but it was nice to have a rest.
Yeah, and I don't know how we'll roll off of it, but I think it came at a good time. I think it was just good. We got a pretty good round of batting practice in. We got some things done. We worked on a few things, and let's see what happens. Oftentimes days off really do help, so we'll see. Hopefully it does.
Do you feel like that disrupts the rhythm at all? I mean, they got up and they got ready to play, and then all of a sudden they have to take it down and get ready for another day.
A little bit, but the rhythm lately hasn't been really that good, so maybe it disrupted some bad rhythm and we can start fresh. That's what I'm hoping.
We're supposed to see Derek Self last night. Due to the washout, do we see him tonight?
Yes, we're just moving back everybody one day. And again, that's something that I think the days off are important to the pitchers coming off a long college season, so I don't have a problem with that. We're not extending these guys much beyond 90 pitches anyway for the rest of the summer at this point, because we do have such a large staff. We're going to get guys innings when we can. So I don't really think that matters that much, but we'll see. Again, it might affect the guys on the back end of that rotation, but right now Derek should be fine.
Yeah, I feel like he's a guy that can just go anywhere, anytime that you tell him. He can start, he can go middle relief, he can go late innings. He's just kind of a utility pitcher.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what Coach Williams told me I was getting with him. They said, use him any way you want to. He could do anything for you, because they've used him in that capacity, in his 2 years at school. So it really does not matter. I mean, I like him as a closer myself, but obviously he's done such a great job as a starter for us. But I do think he's got stuff to be a closer if he chooses to do so, or some organization chooses to put him in as a closer. I think he's got that kind of stuff and that kind of makeup and mentality.
And last time we saw him, this team ended up losing, but he is a winner. I mean, he wins every time he goes out unless he gets a no decision. But I can't think of a much better guy to have on the mound to break this 4-game losing streak.
Well, I hope so, too. Yes, his career record is astounding. He has not lost a game in his college career, and he's only lost a handful of games in his high school and college and summer league career. And that's, that says a lot. Doesn't matter where you're pitching. It's, you're still winning, and that's impressive. And obviously you can see why. His work ethic is phenomenal. His makeup is fantastic. He's got good stuff, and you like to throw behind him. He gets the ball. There's a term I learned a long time ago from Ed Lyons, my old mentor from the Chatham A's, was work fast, throw strikes, change speeds. And that's Derek, right to the T.
Now, yesterday we were supposed to see Steven Perez get a day off, but technically there was a day off. So is he back in the lineup tonight?
No, we're going to stay at the same lineup we had last night. We're going to just let that roll. That's what everybody saw on the board. We'll keep it up there and go from there. They're throwing a right-hander like Bourne was throwing last night, so we'll just use last night's lineup. So Ricky will be at third, Wesley will be at first, Joey will be at shortstop, Marty, Humph, and Verdon will be in the outfield. Jake will be behind the plate. And we'll just go with the same lineup because that's what was up there.
We talk about depth at every position, and in the outfield, it seems to be even better so, because you've got 3 guys who can all play center, or 4 guys, I should say, who can all play center field, and they're all just terrors in the outfield.
We have a very strong defensive outfield, and obviously it's great to have Westy be able to go out there as well. I'm sure we could put. I know Joe has played a little bit of outfield himself, as has Riley, both in college and here. So again, that's why I have a lot of confidence in this team. That once we really start to hit baseball a little bit, we're going to be just fine, because we can do so many things with the lineup.
Now, how do you feel about the bats? Because the other night they came alive and the bullpen just kind of got shut down there at the back end, but we did see early runs finally.
Well, that's the thing. Baseball's such a funny game, and you need to have all 3 every night to really be successful. You need your pitching, you need your defense, and you need your hitting. And it's just too bad that the nights we don't get our pitching, which has been carrying us quite a bit, we don't get enough hits, and we did hit enough, to look like to hold on to that game. But 2 runs isn't enough. You need, I think 4 or 5 runs is a sufficient, amount of runs in a Cape League game. 2 is never, just because everybody can do so many things. So many of these coaches are hit and run, steal guys, and they'll move the ball around. So 2 runs was a shaky lead. I liked it, but it was a shaky lead. And again, we need to score more runs. Our number of hits are relatively adequate, but we need to get clutch hits. We need to drive guys in clutch situations.
Now, we talked early on about the hot start that this team has, and they've cooled off just a little bit. But one of the main things that we saw in the early hot start was the fact that this team could win late. And I feel like that's going to translate into how the team plays down the stretch heading on down to the playoffs. Like, you get a bit of a lull in the middle after the hot start, but once the team feels the pull of the late summer in the playoffs, things will start to kick off again.
That's what we're hoping for. I've always said that just about this time of year, maybe another 10 days or so, a lot of guys and even coaches start to see home. They can smell home, they can see it, they can feel it. They've had a long season, which started way back in January, and they're tired. They'd like to go home and rest. But I like to always say that the team that wants to go home last is Chatham, and that's because of how well they're treated. They're treated well by the coaching staff. They're treated like men. They're not browbeaten. They're not beat up. They're not being abused mentally or physically. And the host families are phenomenal. So we like to think that that carries us a long way towards the end of the season, where some teams might not have it as good as we have it. And it actually has worked for us. So you can't count on it, but you can certainly say there's a chance that we'll be okay. And I still think this is a pretty good team. This team has very good players who had very solid seasons at school, and we've proven that we can win. We've proven when we put together a game with offense, defense, and pitching that we can play. So it's just a matter, again, you hate to use cliches, it's a matter of inches. I mean, some of those balls, and I've been telling these guys, we're hitting in a little bit of bad luck. There's just a little bit of bad luck there, and we're a little snake bit. Some of those balls go 2 or 3 feet the other way, we score 3 or 4 more runs. I think we're going to be okay, and that's our job, to keep these guys interested, keep these guys confident, and let them continue to know that this is a fun game to play.
He's John Schiffner. I'm Aaron Canada. It's the Manager's Show on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Go Anglers!